Alright guys, today we've got a project in the shop. It's a 5NA Tiguan that we're going to be putting BMP version 2 Illuminator series headlights on and walk you through the whole process from installation to adjustment and go over the differences between the version 1 and version 2 adjustments, so when you get your headlights, you know exactly what you need to do. To get started with this, we've got to ultimately get the front end off so that the headlights can come out. We've got an assortment of tools ready, and we'll go over what we're going to be using and show you how to make this as easy as possible. So most of the fasteners are T25 Torx bits, and there are some T30 Torx bits there too. Some of those have a 10mm head, so you can use a standard socket on them, but it's easiest just to keep consistent with the Torx bit. You'll want to get a clip popping tool, something to reach some of the harder to get to clips if you have a hard time disconnecting connectors. And you'll of course want a socket for the lug bolts so we can take the wheels off and have easier access to the fender liner, which we'll need to remove. But we'll get started here and take you through the process. All right, so the first step we have to take care of is getting the front grille out. Which is held in by 4 T25 Torx bits, or Torx screws. Now that we've got the top of the grille released, we can work on getting the rest of the bumper unsecured from the car. And then the bumper and the grille can come out as one piece. This grille is a little bit stubborn and doesn't want to release from the bumper. I'm not sure if it's been painted, which can cause it to have some tackiness between the connections. So instead of trying to get this off with the potential of hurting something, we'll just take it all out together. Now there are 2 core support brackets that sit on either side. The one on the driver's side has the hood latch cable attached to it, and when you disconnect that, you want to be very careful with the tabs. But these are all held in by T30s, so we'll get these removed for now and move on to the fender liners. So these tabs can be quite brittle. You can use a set of pliers to pop them in, but they can often hurt it more than they do good. So if you just pop in both tabs gently, it'll go in and the tabs should remain intact. Like that. That's what it sounds like in my brain. So the under tray's off, and now we gotta get the last screws out of the fender liner, and it will come right out. These should release free here, then wiggle right out. The whole liner can come right out. Okay, so we've got to remove this trim piece to be able to get the bumper off. And on the back side here, there are a bunch of pressure clips that hold everything in. They're secured by rubber grommets and can be pretty tricky to get out. So you'll want to pop this loose very gently, wiggle it back and forth, and the bottom will come out. And then as you go up around each one of the tabs, just gently start popping it loose from the fender, and it should come off without much trouble at all. You don't always make the best noises, but just be gentle. and you should be able to refrain from breaking anything. Now the clips that hold into the bumper are different. They are just little spring clips, so it shouldn't take too much to get it out. So these clips here that run along the length through the fender go into these rubber grommets, and they can be rather tight. So you want to get between the rubber and the clip and pop it loose. And then up here, these square holes hold these clips. And if you push on either side with your fingers, you can get it to pop free. So now the next step that we have to take care of is our electrical connections to the bumper. This particular vehicle has fog lights as well as parking sensors. So each fog light will have a connector on it, and the parking sensors will have a harness on the driver's side that'll get disconnected from the bumper. All right, so we actually have a third connection that we have to address as well, which is our side markers here. So the fog light down here will disconnect, pinch the clip, and it will come down. The marker light will simply wiggle out of its housing, and it'll keep the bulb with it. Just make sure that doesn't hit anything. And then up here, we've got the connector for the parking sensors. Now you'll just push that clip in and pop it off. And now this is completely separated. And the only thing holding the bumper on now are the components that secure it to the chassis. So what we're gonna do is take out the screws that secure this in here on either side, and we should be able to pop the wings out and slide the bumper forward. Yeah, perfect. I just remembered that there are some screws in the bottom of the bumper we can get out. So with that, be able to walk her off. And we've got one last connection for the front radar. It feels like they broke it. Cool. So now that we have the bumper off, we are ready to get our OEM headlights out of the vehicle. We have two fasteners left to remove. They're both T30s, one on the front inside of the headlight and one on the back of the headlight that secure it to the chassis there. This one needs to come all the way out. This one just needs to be loosened because it can slide in and out. And just to make sure we don't have any other stragglers holding on here, we should be good with that. Depending on how this is secured, we should be able to just slide it from the bracket. There is one more T30 on the side here. It's a little silver guy. But now that we've got those out, we've got to disconnect the connector from the back of the headlight. And now, by pulling the front inside of the headlight forward a little bit and wiggling, we can release this clip that holds onto the core support, and the headlight should come right out. All right, on to the part that you guys are most excited for when you get your lights from us. The unboxing. You'll get this big, beautiful box with BMP tape on it that you'll have to cut through. And inside, you'll have a wonderful set of BMP Illuminator headlights, which should be very secure and packaged with care by our own Anthony. Now, before we get too far into this, what we'll do is go over the adjustment differences between our version 1 and version 2 lights, so that no matter which lights you actually choose to purchase, you'll know how to adjust them when you get them installed, because oftentimes you will need to get these headlights adjusted just to be at the right level for your particular ride height or vehicle. So on our version 1 light, we've got 2 adjusters here, one on top and one on bottom. This one will be adjusting the horizontal light. This one will be adjusting the vertical light angle. And then over here, we've got one adjuster down here and one here. This one's horizontal, this one's vertical. So as you adjust these, you'll be able to adjust the pitch of the light in any direction that you need to, so that they're even and consistent between the two of them. Now on the version 2 light, we've got quite a different setup. Here we've got our vertical adjustment, and down here we've got our horizontal adjustment. Both are going to be manipulated by a 6mm hex head Allen, and you'll have all of the adjustment that you need from these 2 adjusters and won't need to fuss with anything else to get your lights dialed in. Now the 2 screws that we loosened from the back of the headlights, we'll want to remove from the OEM ones and transition over to your new lights. And you can just get them screwed in a few threads and make sure that they're prepared so that we can get them over that lip. Now with our screws in, we can go ahead and get the lights placed in the car. Now we'll go in the same way we came out, with the inside corner in. Okay, so now we've got the headlight in its general position, and we will start by securing it the same way that we removed everything, starting with our silver screw into the side. And we'll want to line up the headlight here at this time as best we can to the fender, to make sure that when we get everything tightened up, it is where we want it. These don't, they fit. There we go. All right, so we'll want to start with the silver screw on the side here, get it started, and from here, we can work on getting everything lined up. It should be pretty darn close. And as we go through and tighten everything, we'll just make sure that our lines stay consistent. On the front of these, there are plastic threaded holes. We'll go ahead and remove the adjustment screws from the OEM lights as well and pop those in. Prior to doing so, we'll mark the screws to assess their depth and try to get them set to the same position so everything is exactly how it came out first. So this is our passenger side light, and I'm just going to score the screw where we want it to be in the new light. We can remove it. And you may not be able to see it, but there is a little score mark on this screw, and we're gonna tighten it down to that same position in the new light. And one more turn should. There's our score mark. And we'll check, make sure our score's there, which it is, and we'll put it back in. Okay, that is in. And we should have everything at the approximate location that we need it at. We'll go ahead and get the fasteners that we can secured right now to make sure that this is lined up as best as possible. Okay, now just wiggle everything in, make sure that those lines look good, and then these 3 screws can be secured.
This gasket is sitting behind the fender. Like that. Okay, there we go. We have it placed now. Start with our side one. Sorry if it's got really loud because the microphone's in my mouth. Started, and this one started. Alright, so we've got our lights in.
All right, with the lights in, we've got everything where we can start reassembly. We do need to connect our lights to the harness. We've got to put our brackets back into the core support, and then we'll get the bumper put back on, fender wells in, and we should just about be done. At that point, we'll be able to get it lined up next to the door so that we can adjust these headlights and show you exactly how to get it exactly how you need it. All right, so right now, the lights are fairly even. However, they do appear to be just a little bit low, so we're gonna raise them up. However, being that we drive on the right side of the road, in the United States, on the left side of the car, the driver's side, typically you'll see that the headlight is dipped down just a tiny bit compared to the passenger side. This is so that you don't blind people in oncoming traffic. Mind you, the difference is negligible. So right now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the left side is just a tad bit higher than the right side. So we're gonna raise this side up just tiny and then raise the other side up just a little bit more, and we should be right where we wanna be. So this first adjuster, which is on the top outside of the headlight, is going to be our vertical adjustment. Screwing it clockwise causes it to go down, and counterclockwise will cause it to go up. Now, as we keep an eye on the actual light beam, you can see here, we've got it coming all the way over to right about here. And this is where it steps down to the other side. So this one we're going to want to bring up to right about here, and we should be spot on. So here at this corner, we push it up against the door. We are pretty much, the middle of the prism sits at the 5. If we do the same thing here, the middle of the prism sitting just below 5, so we're going to go ahead and continue raising this one up just a tad. And the middle of the prism is now right at 5, and we'll go up another 1/4 of an inch. Now when I say prism, you'll see in this light we've got a bright white, and then on top you've got yellow, green, and red, and that's the prism. So the light is separating and we're able to see the different colors. And right now, the middle of it, where the green and the reddish orange touch, is sitting at 5 1/4, so we're where we want to be. And just to verify again over here, dead center in 5. So we are lined up. So now that we've completed the install of these Illuminator 2 series headlights, we have gotten them adjusted so they are pointing in the right direction. This vehicle is ready to go back to its owner and light up the street. I hope you guys enjoyed the process that we went through with you, and hopefully it's helped some of you. And if you have any questions or need anything from us, feel free to leave a comment, like and subscribe for more, and we'll be back soon.